Hey bookworms, welcome back to my channel and to another review. Thank you for joining me, and let's all try together to ignore some weird things that are going on with my hair. This was a failed scientific experiment. My hair doesn't like to be curled, so let's just ignore it. So today I'll be talking about Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough, and this is a 2017 thriller, and yes, there is a Netflix series coming up, or maybe it's already up, I don't know. It has two protagonists and switches around between their point of view. The first one is Adele, and she's this perfect Stepford wife. She's a young, beautiful woman who is married to a successful, handsome psychiatrist. And the second protagonist is Louise. She's a single mother who works as a secretary for Adele's husband, said handsome psychiatrist. His name is David, but she's also having an affair with him. And this love triangle becomes even more complicated when Adele and Louise bump into each other, and basically they become best friends. But things aren't what they seem, because quickly we find out that at least one of the party members is lying, and some of the relationships are actually cleverly planned in order to manipulate some other characters into some sinister scheme. So remember a while ago I was talking about how these contemporary thrillers like The Woman in the Window and The Silent Patient and In a Dark Dark Wood and, you know, these sort of books, despite the fact that they're all about the big twist, the big surprise, they're basically all the same. Well, this book is exactly the same like all the other books. Why am I doing this to myself? Did I actually think that this book would be different? I think somewhere inside of me I knew that it wouldn't, but I always do this to myself. I read raving reviews saying how fascinating, how great this novel is, how different it is from other thrillers, and I think, okay, this one would be different, so I read it and it's not. Yes, it has different characters, obviously, and it does have this subplot that kind of delve into the realm of the supernatural, but otherwise it's just the same song, different verse. That sounds exactly like the verse from the other song, so it's not all that original anyway. Okay, let's get down to it. If you want to listen to me rant about this novel, then continue watching. However, if you think I'm all wrong about these contemporary thrillers, that each and every one of them is fascinating, and you love every single Karen Slaughter novel and every Gillian Flynn book that comes out, and you think that The Silent Patient was the best debut novel of the decade, then you will probably also like Behind Her Eyes. Enjoy reading it or watching the Netflix series, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! But now let me share with you some of my thoughts about this book, and it will be a bit difficult to talk about some of the things that I would have liked to talk about without getting into spoilers, and I don't do spoilers on this channel. Basically, it has to do with a different, very famous book that I found this one really similar to, but if I will tell you which one it is, you'll know some of the spoilers. But you know what? Let's actually start with some positives. Well, I did like Louise. She wasn't completely dumb, and despite me being really angry at her for having an affair with a married man that she knew was married, generally I found her character very relatable. She made sense to me, you know, she felt like a real person with real people's problems. The same cannot be said about Adele, who most of the time acted like an over-the-top villain from an old movie. Seriously, all that was missing was some twirling of the mustache and a sinister laugh. As I mentioned before, some of the book is told from her perspective, and the way she speaks to the readers is just so cartoonish. Someone should tell Pinborough that real people don't talk like that, even to themselves, I believe. But listen to me, ranting again when I'm supposed to be talking about positives. I like the fact that the supernatural element was an attempt to do something different. It created different problems, like the fact that it was supposed to be taking place in the real world, that the target audience, in my opinion, wouldn't be really up to any supernatural element, and some plot holes, not a lot of them, but big ones. And lastly, I noticed that the ending really stuck with me after reading. I'm not sure I liked the big twist at the ending, but even days after finished reading the book, I'm still thinking of this horrific truth of what we found out eventually. In fact, the more I think about it, the more I'm being re-horrified, if that's a word, from that last revelation. So I suppose an ending that stays with you means that at least the book was memorable. And sometimes I really think you have to wait a couple of days and see how the book resonates or stays with you. And that's it for the positives. Now let me tell you about some of the things I disliked before I finish this video. I think the biggest issue with this book is just how cliche and predictable it is. I actually managed to guess so many things about the plot just because I already read it in other books. I can talk more about it, but you know, what else can I say? The supernatural element was different, but it kind of felt like it came out of nowhere, like one of those movies that ends with, "It was all a dream." Another issue is just how unrealistic some of the characters behaved. I already said that Louise felt like a real person to me, but even she had some lines that didn't really sound like anything a real normal person would say. It's a shame I didn't note some examples, but I can tell you that I rolled my eyes and grunted in annoyance so many times while reading this book. Speaking of not talking like a real person, another issue that I have both with this book and other similar ones in this genre, The Woman in the Window really comes to mind, has to do with the personal twist. One of the latest trends in this genre has to do with the surprise, unreliable narrator. You'll see we'll have a main character and we'll be following her and we'll be hearing her thoughts. But then one of the twists will be a secret about her own personal life that she kept away from us for some reason. And in these cases, instead of feeling a surprise, I just feel like I was lied to. A good twist is one that has a setting, and then when we realize that it was a lie, we start thinking and we realize what things we misread or falsely assumed, or why that other character lied. But when we read a character's personal thoughts and it turns out that it was a lie, nothing was reaped because nothing was sown. The setting doesn't make any sense. There is no satisfying explanation to why everything we just read was a lie. It was like keeping secrets from your own diary. And if you read any of those latest contemporary thrillers that has one of those personal twists, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. And this is where I'm going to end things. Look guys, it's easy. If you read the other contemporary fashionable thrillers like the one that I just mentioned and you like them, then you're going to probably like this one. Very easy. I didn't like this one. I didn't think that it was particularly thrilling or interesting, and I was rather annoyed by the ending. However, if you are planning on reading this book, please note that there is a short yet brutal animal torture scene in it, so you are warned. I am done with these copy-paste thrillers, even though when you think about it, I don't think I would really categorize this book as a thriller. It reminded me more of those Crazy Lover 80s movies, more, you know, Fatal Attraction than Manhunter. Manhunter was the original movie adaptation of Red Dragon. What? You try finding a good non-romantic 80s psychological thriller to compare it to. 90s, sure, but 80s? Anyway, enough said. Guys, thank you very much for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to click the like button and to subscribe to my channel if you dare. I have lots of other reviews of other bad thrillers. I even have an entire playlist of my rant videos on books that I didn't like. So guys, thank you again for watching. I'm going to read some Charles Dickens or something, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.